Good afternoon, everyone. Today we will talk about our school that is called Psychopedagogical School, which is a peace and democratic school. The directives are Maria Emilia Garcia, Angela Gomez, Isabela Parra, and the one who is speaking, Juliana Arenas. So let's start. What is a peace and democratic school? In this process, the school has played an essential role reproducing authoritarian schemes and privileging instructions over training. Both the potential for building relationships based on peaceful coexistence, respect, tolerance, and democracy are also discovered. So, the school has a territory of peace. The school has a territory of peace is an alternative to permanent reflection and action as a perspective of the meaning of educational and pedagogical practices throughout which knowledge, methods, and instruments all are vital to investigate reality and development critical and transformative awareness, where the objective is to offer opportunities to develop skills, knowledge, and values necessary for the practice of conflict resolution, communication, and cooperation in relation to issues of peace, war, violence, conflict, and injustice. So, democratization of education. So, this education can be defined as education that is offered to teach and promote the development of knowledge, values, and skills necessary to live in a democratic society. Democratization education means making it possible for all citizens to have access to the educational system, regardless of their status, race, language, social conditions, and age, both in the levels declared compulsory and in the voluntary one.
Now, where is our philosophy? Well, the conjunction of education and peace and democracy obeys the conviction that both peace and democracy are social constructions that go together in the process of building a society mature enough to achieve an adequate degree of human development of the citizens and guarantee of human rights. But these are processes that should be supported by the formative work of education as a social policy. Our peace and democratic schools believe that violence in all forms, direct, structural, cultural, and unbalanced power relationships, such as social, political, historical, and economical, limit the capacity of human development. From this pedagogy, we believe that education must provide tools for citizens to understand the complex world in which they live in, to manage a democracy and build and defend a system of values in which tolerance, justice, and respect for others are integrated. Also, peace is not only an end, but it must be presented as a climate that covers educational interactions. And education should promote tolerance and diversity and mutual respect between individuals and groups, respect for evidence in the formation of opinions, and considering that all people have the same social and political rights. Peace-building education processes can provide opportunities for students to practice tolerance and inclusion and become participatory citizens. Also, and to say that mere knowledge of democratic processes is not considered sufficient to ensure that the student grows up and becomes an active participant in democratic processes. What it is important is that the student understands the meaning of democracy in terms of social justice and equality. It's also important that they understand real-world problems in order to participate meaningfully in discussions and decision-making. Next. Now, it is also very important to say that this type of pedagogical model that we use believes that the teacher plays an important role in education for peace and democracy. So, school is like a microsystem of the larger democratic society in which students and teachers learn from each other through interaction of an equal footing. Yet, teachers are responsible for creating a learning environment conducive and continue growing for the students. By basing the learning processes in real-world problems, educators build on a critical stance that becomes the best way to enable students' agency, democratic participation, and social actions. Now, if schools are to educate for democracy and peace, they should practice what they teach. So, democratic school governance takes the form of a direct democracy in a school in which all members participate in shared decision making. Also, classroom can be areas of optimism and transformation. This approach used should allow students to practice democracy and should provide a safe environment where they can make risks and actively participate in the learning process.
Okay, so no, our purpose. The basic objective is aimed at finding a way to build a culture of peace from school. So the purpose is to train students who know and understand the world's problem at a global level, who have skills for conflict resolutions and are strive to defend justice without violence, living with reference to standards of human rights and equity, appreciating culture's diversity, mutual respect among fellow citizens. In the same way, forming in the classroom an integrative theory of education for peace, which they challenge homogeneous perspectives. Also, peace education activities promote the knowledge, skills, and attitudes that will help people prevent the occurrence of conflicts, resolve them peacefully, or create social conditions that are conducive to peace.
Okay, now talking about how it works, our school offers different curriculum options and classes that children can sign up to according to what they like. Groups are interest-based rather than age or grade based. All child, teacher, and parent get to vote in the school assembly. Children are encouraged to participate more in the decision making by working in school communities. We like to teach peace-making skills through a child-centered and experience-based system. We also like to facilitate children to come up with their own understanding of their experiences for solving problems. Next. Okay, we like to integrate understanding of peace, human rights, social justice, and global issues throughout the curriculum. We also have a humanist worldview that is central in our school, and we like to promote work with different communities. We promote cooperative group work for developing problem-solving skills. And we also like to construct knowledge of peace building, including means of dealing with conflict are effective and non-violent. And finally, we like to demonstrate the principles of equality and non-discrimination in administrative policies and practices.
Okay, now we are going to talk about an example of a school in Colombia, and its name is the Pedagogical Unit School, and was born in 1979 as a result of the concern of a group of teachers who worked in another school, who wondered many things about education. They wanted a school that where the discipline of boys and girls was the main thing dividing them by age, and thus to observe the behavior of the children in each age group. Now we are going to talk about the pedagogical model, and it is based on the way through which the foundations of the college are put into practice. It is based on the principles of active pedagogy, which establishes working relationships based on the mutual recognition of the different educational actors. Children are unique beings with their own interests and capabilities, with a family, social, and emotional history that accompanies them to a school where they interact with their peers and adults. And teachers are the accompany of children in their developmental process and also seeks to generate an effective bridge of communication between them and families, using all the tools of participation to strengthen the educational work. Their philosophical foundations are the central objective of the pedagogical unit school is the formation of free citizens who understand and comply with the laws and agreements of a community and can act in a autonomously and responsibly way. And citizenship education understood as a political projection In a democratic society implies that the coexistence characterized by the protection of the basic rights to life, safety, personality, development, and learning. And finally, the pedagogical foundation are divided into four axes: ethical development, that is the reflection and discussion of the reason for the rules that allow the development of the coexistence and the survival of society, is a daily work of teachers and directors. Knowledge development is a process of, of collective construction that allows understanding, explaining, and influencing the transformation of the world, which allows the promotion of creativity, autonomy, and personality development. Formation through work means that man is as a species is a product of the development of work, understood as a process of transformation and modification of himself and his environment. And finally, the participation is understood at unit pedagogical college as the possibility for all members of the community, and in particular students, to play an active and political role. And that's all. There are the references, and thanks for your attention.